Hi there, and welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where father and son sit down and talk about fantasy things. I'm the son in that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. Thanks for being with us here today. We hope you enjoy what you get to see as we spend some more time talking the Wheel of Time in this episode. If you do like what you see, be sure to like the episode, and we'd love it if you subscribe to our channel like more and more people are doing. Zach,
Ooh,
as of this morning, we hit 224 subscribers.
which is amazing.
We love it. Still going all the way back to the beginning when you thought it'd be great if we had 5.
Yeah, no, it's definitely more than 5, which still surprises me.
And we've got content of all different types. So we're leaning in this episode into our Wheel of Time, chapter by chapter breakdown. And, we've heard from some of our fans recently, people who are actually following these episodes, and especially when they're first time readers, finding it a place that helps them better understand what they're experiencing. So we'll remind all of you, if you are a first time reader and just stumbled onto this one, this is a safe space for you. We do not spoil what's to come. We will talk in depth about what's in these 3 chapters. And if you look at the notes, I have a real big typo in the notes. It says we're doing chapters 63 to 28.
Yeah, it's not quite
what?
right. I mean, I don't even know how you messed that one up.
I have no idea how I did that.
There's not a 3 in any part of this.
No, what? So chapters 26 to 28 of the Fires of Heaven today. So if you haven't read those yet, you shouldn't be watching this yet. And we'll reference things from previous chapters, even previous books. But when it comes to what's coming ahead, we're only going to allude to foreshadowing, hints, but no spoils. So we want you to have fun with this. Before we and again, that's the Wheel of Time, but we have a lot of other stuff here on our YouTube channel, so be sure to check it all out. That's why you might want to subscribe.
Definitely.
Yeah, Zach, how you doing today?
I'm okay.
Good.
I had work today, which I don't
Good
on these days.
They pay you when you work.
They do pay me, which is a good thing. And it was actually like one of the more pleasant days to work on a day that I didn't want to work. That's a convoluted thing.
What made it more pleasant?
It flowed well. Things were fine. People were good. The vibes were going good.
Okay, good.
I am, however, a bit tired, a bit surprised today to not have a hangover.
Okay.
but ready for today. How are you doing, Dad?
I'm doing great. It's nice to be here. I spent the last 6 days traveling for work, and it was a lot of work. Long days, both at locations that I was visiting for work and then traveling between them. I put on a lot of miles, a lot of windshield time, which gave me great time to listen to audiobooks. I plowed through some material there this week, but still, long days. And then finally to get home late last night, hit my own bed, and then wake up this morning whenever the heck I wanted to, which the body said was 5:30 a.m. But hey,
gross.
Okay. Got up, went for a walk, and then started prepping for podcasting. It's a good day. It's actually also in the 60s outside, and the sun is shining. We haven't had that here in the Pacific Northwest for a while, so
you've been warmer than that. You've been warmer than that.
No, we haven't gotten to this. Oh, okay. Sorry. Humor went.
Oh, it's okay. I'm just very glad that I don't live there anymore.
So, I see you are drinking something, and I'm wondering if your lack of surprise. No, if your surprise over your lack of hangover had any impact on what you decided to drink for this episode.
I mean, I'm drinking booze, nothing strong. I'm just drinking beer. I had some leftover, partially from yesterday. For reference, it was a friend's birthday, and so I was having a good time with them. Therefore, I was drinking. Therefore, I was surprised to not have a hangover. But I have beer in the house, so that's what I'm drinking. What are you drinking, Dad?
I just went classic. I made a dirty vodka martini with a little bit of Austin, Texas in it. Tito's.
That is wild. I don't know if you can see this,
Yeah.
but the green screen effect catches on the drink.
The map is coming along with the drink. It's kind of fun.
What? I'm so confused. It's not green.
There's green olives in it. There's olive brine in it.
I was down for it to just be cool so that you could like have your drink and not interrupt the background. And then it started taking over you. And then I was like, I don't know about this anymore.
I made a classic beverage like that this time because I was going to record it as a YouTube short. I've put 2 drink videos out recently and they've done fairly well for shorts, but I couldn't get this one made fast enough. Unfortunately, I got to rethink how to do it so that I can actually get it into the 1 minute time frame. So another time, but you know, in trying it, I still had a drink I'd made, so that's what I'm drinking.
At least
today.
you get to drink it.
That's right.
What else do we have?
Well, I did already give the shout out to our YouTube subscribers, all of you wonderful people who are watching now. We love you. Thank you for being here. We did have some interaction with an author this week. Because one of the things I've read, which I'll talk about in a minute, is the Book of Riley, a zombie tale, part of, it's right under me on the image here, part of the Zombie Fallout universe. It's a tie-in series, and I was tweeting it. I enjoyed it, and author Mark Tufo liked the tweet. So that's always nice to see you catch the eye of an author you enjoy. So that is one of the things I've been reading.
Nice.
The Book of Riley is 5 novellas, and I went through all 5 of them on audiobook. Each one's about 3 hours at regular speed. And so got through all of that. I also finished this week a couple of Stephen King books, Dolores Claiborne, and then Rose Madder. And I've got episodes out on each of these. Book Blasts, man, Rose Madder, dark book. And now I'm actually reading another Stephen King book, Black House, a collaboration with Peter Straub. I've just started that one. In Kindle, I'm reading Gardens of the Moon, book 1 of Malazan, Book of the Fallen, and it's freaking awesome. I am enjoying this so much.
I like how your symbol for in Kindle was a book, like it actually opens like a book.
And then in my physical copy of books, I'm still finishing up Dolphins of Pern, which is right above you in our graphic. I'm really enjoying it. It's much better than the last book we read, which was just a collection of short stories in that universe. Dolphins of Pern is actually quite engaging. We're advancing the storyline.
Yeah, I was like, either that's really good for this one or really bad for the last one that we read.
What are you reading, Zach?
Well, I'm also working my way through the Dolphins, as we do for our book club. I'm also then, you can see on this side of me, Leviathan Wakes. I finished that and moved straight on to Caliban's War, the second book in the Expanse series. So I'm working through that right now. And then I plan to finish either today or tomorrow Beyond the Shadows, the third book in the Night Angel trilogy.
Okay. See, I want to give a shout out. I am going to be guesting on another show, What the Adaptation, which is a YouTube channel that focuses on adaptations of fantasy and science fiction stuff. It's been brought to the screen. And they're currently doing The Expanse Season 2. I already did 1 episode with them. I'll be on again tomorrow night to do another episode.
Woo!
And I've got another couple episodes I'll be doing later in the season for them. And I'm not the only person that appears, but there is an open invitation to you, Zach, to join us if you read far enough and then watch far enough.
I gotta get cooking. I gotta go fast.
Yeah, so you've got until, I think the last one I'm doing with them is early May. So you've got some time. We're doing one in late April, one in early May. Maybe you can get there and join us.
I get to the right spot in the books. I can binge the show. We can do that in like a weekend. It's fine. It's only a lot of hours.
So I'll keep them knowing to ask, is Zach with us this week? I'll let them know. There's chance. There's life. Okay. Because they have watched us. They know what we do here. They'd love to have us both. It's great. All right. That's what we got. How about we do some Wheel of Time content now?
I think that sounds appropriate.
All right, so we have 3 chapters, and again, the typos and what I have,
Yeah, I'm
because
a
it
little
says we're
confused.
starting
I'm
with
like,
with
what?
chapter 27. No, we're not. We're
That's not
starting with
right.
chapter 26. What
It's
was
okay
going
though, because
on?
later on in the notes, you also say we're continuing with chapter 27.
Because it was a really long chapter. Okay, chapter 27 is called Sally Dara,
Never heard of her.
and it sees us return to a Min point of view, traveling along with Logain, Swan, and Liana, and the delightful Bella, who we will not mention the rest of the episode. But there you go. She's
Not
there.
probably not. Yeah.
Min has been seeing this halo of greatness around Logain.
Think
It's
of that
something she
glory.
first saw when? Do you remember, Zach? When did she first see this and go, what?
First saw was definitely like way back in the tower.
Yes.
I don't remember what the first shot is. Was it when everything was falling to hell, or was it before then? I feel like it was before
Before
then.
that, it was a time where she was just sitting
Yeah.
in like the open foyer area, and Logain and one of his handlers was like outside the courtyard.
They just had a depressing walk in the gardens.
Yeah, he's mopey, he's already been gentled, and he's got this halo of glory. She's like, what?
Anyways, he's
That
still
doesn't
got
make
that.
sense. He's still got that. And she's seeing it more and more. Like it's almost like a constant thing hanging around him now, which really puzzles him because it's been growing in prevalence while he has been declining in energy and presence. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. But this has been happening while they've been traveling the past 15 days southwest out of Lugard, with only Swan knowing where they're going. She hasn't deigned to share with Min. She'd learned something back in Lugard that gave her the destination she wants to go to, but she's kept it close to the vest. Liana might know, but she's not saying if she does or doesn't either. She's being very Aes Sedai about it. Logain just mopey and more lacking any interest in really putting effort into life.
I mean, like, he had no will to live, and then he got a purpose, but then that purpose has been just like on the backest burner. So
Right.
it's like, it's not very invigorating to just wander.
And as they've been traveling here, they've had a system. When they come upon men that they're going to interact with, Liana handles the men. Swan handles any women. She can boss the women around. She can get them to do what she needs. But men, Liana takes care of that because she's Domani. She's got those wiles.
So what I'm hearing is they either boss or manipulate people to get what they need.
100%. Liana has also been the one who's serving as Logain's handler because she kind of flirts a little and encourages, to get him moving and stuff. But despite how good she can be, not even that's working anymore. He's like, I don't care about anything now. Swan, as Min is having these thoughts, Swan comes over to Min and says, so, Logain, have you done a viewing again today? Has anything changed? And Min's like, how many times do I have to tell you, woman? Now, she doesn't say that because that would go over very badly with Swan. But why is Min's patience stretched by Swan asking this question, Zach?
Because Min has explained multiple times how her talents work, that the things she sees, doesn't matter if she sees it once, doesn't matter if she sees it constantly. If she saw it and knows what it means, it's gonna happen.
Yes.
Period. And
100%.
She's never seen like a vision that's like, yeah, I know what that means. And then it changed and it was like, no, that means something else now. No, that's not how it works.
She doesn't always know what a vision means.
Yeah.
But when she does know what it means that. 100%. It's coming true that way. Now, These 3 chapters, it's really important. First time readers, trust me, it's really important that you remember this conversation and apply it to what we'll talk about at the very end of the last chapter. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Until we get to the end of the last chapter. Now, how many people are now skipping ahead to the end of the episode so they can see what is he talking about?
I don't know. I think this is the point where we just like edit something weird so that it's really hard to tell where it actually is. No.
Speaking of, okay, segue, tangent. I went and saw Scream 6 this week.
Oh, did you?
First time I've gone to a theater since before the pandemic, and even then I wasn't going very often.
It's been a while for you.
But I had an opportunity. I was out on the road, got a hotel room to spend time in. Oh, it's opening weekend for Scream 6. Sure, I'll go kill a little time, go see a movie. And it was really worth it. But I waited through much of the credits in case there's something else. And now then it gets, you know how there's credits and then there's other credits. You know how movies do that?
The stylized credits and then the credits.
So when it got to the credits, I'm like, all right, we're done. That's good. And I left. And then I saw an article that there is actually an extra scene in Scream 6 at the end. But it's a poke at people who have been trained to stay for the extra scene. So I'm glad I didn't stay. Basically, it's a repeat of a scene earlier in the movie with one extra thing added where the person actually completely breaks the fourth wall, looks right at the audience and says, and this is why you don't stay for extra credit scenes, guys. And they're out. Because it was nothing new. It was just one more thing. Kind of, really? You stayed this long?
Yep.
That was funny. Okay. Just saying.
Disney's got everybody whipped.
Seriously. Okay, so Min, she's had this viewing. She knows what's going to happen in some way to him, but she has no idea how that's going to happen. Also in her thoughts, she's like, I have to keep putting up with this kind of garbage and hanging out with Swan and Logain and Lyanna because of Rand. That doofus. She has a little frustration. She's stuck in these situations. And this all ties to, again, a vision. Because Min had a vision right away. The first time she saw Rand, which was in what city?
Back in Baerlon.
Way back, Eye of the World, Baerlon. That's right. And from that moment, she knew she was going to fall desperately in love with him.
Oops.
And so, not only did she know that, she also saw she'd have to share him.
Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah. And so she's just continuing ever since then to follow the course life is leading, knowing that she's going to end up back with Rand, and these are the things she has to do. Now, we don't know with certainty yet who the other two women will be, right? Because
I believe so.
Yeah, Min doesn't know. I think Min knows who one of them is.
Yeah. I don't know if we've actually been told here or there. We've got some ability to have some suspicions, but I think we should save off until at least like the end of this book before we say something like that.
There was a tweet from Screen Rant online this week about season 2 is going to be finally, sharing elements of Rand's relationships with all 5 women that he falls in love with. And it's got the fandom talking.
Yeah,
what?
I think they mean 7.
Okay, we're going to stick with 3 here. Going on. Swan now assures the group, okay, we're nearly to our destination. And Lyanna notes the importance of this, as Logain, he may not make it much further. His condition, because of gentling, is really catching up to him. Would you explain that again, Zach, of why this is happening to Logain?
Why he's been gentled or why he's wasting away?
Oh, no, we know why he's gentled. Why is he wasting away from gentling?
It's kind of a mixture between taking the one thing that you love more than anything else away from you. So like your dog dying, and being like in heavy withdrawal from very addictive drugs. Those two things together that just like make life really suck.
So for him right now, life really sucks.
Which is hard to live through when it really, 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 really sucks.
Now, it's nice and all that Swan is saying they're almost there, but in the back of Min's mind, she's like, Swan could be blowing smoke, because, she can lie now.
Mm-hmm.
And so she may not even really know where we're going. This may just be trying to keep us following her. But next thing you know, they're exiting the woods they've been walking through, and a town appears before them out of nowhere. They have arrived.
Apparently.
And Min, as she looks ahead, sees men and women busily moving around, doing this, doing that, children running around, playing, cats and dogs doing inappropriate things.
Ooh, I don't think that one's described.
I'm sure it's happening somewhere, though. And intermixed in all of these people, she can recognize gobs of warders and Aes Sedai. Now, warders are hard to recognize unless they're wearing their special cloak and all. Aes Sedai, well, they've got the Aes Sedai face. But Min has something extra that makes them stand out because, again, she looks at Logain. She sees this aura and this vision.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she sees that around people from time to time, but when she looks at Aes Sedai and warders, she almost always sees these sorts of things.
She
And
always
so she's
sees
seeing
something.
there's auras everywhere right now. She's like, yeah, she can tell what she's seeing.
She walked out of the woods and into a rave.
Drop that funky music. Okay, there is quite the reaction upon their arrival. And the reaction is that there isn't like the kind of reaction they might hope for. It's not like, oh, you made it, welcome, or oh, who are you? Quick, let's go get them. No, it's just everybody stops and stares. The only people that actually move are some of the adults who come out and get the children and hide them away.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Everyone else just stands there, especially the Aes Sedai and warders. Warders look like they might be ready to, to go, if needed. But the Aes Sedai, just that cool, serene calm, watching them. And it's silent. It's kind of eerie.
A little bit. Anytime you've got a crowd that just like stops, it's like, why? Carry on, or like talk to me or something. This is just weird.
Yeah,
you're staring.
I mean,
I'm
picture
staring.
yourself.
We're both staring.
You walk into a room where there's a mild buzz of conversation, and then when you step in, everything goes silent, and they all turn and stare at you. That's what they're feeling as they walk into this town.
It's just
what is this reaction?
Entrance.
For you, Zach, though, what does this reaction indicate about the Aes Sedai and the warders, and perhaps this town?
It's not a place people come to.
Yeah,
people just showing up out of the woods.
Not normal.
Is weird.
This is not what happens here.
And very
there was no road leading to this town. So what are you doing here? How did you find us? Kind of thing. But they just keep walking. No one stops them. And they walk into the town and they stop at what appears to be a large inn. They dismount. They have to help Logain off. He's just going to sit there. So they have to help him off the horse. And they all go inside. And what they find inside is quite interesting. Because this is a common room, but it's no regular common room. In the first place, the common room sucks. I mean, you look around and it's falling apart. There's holes in the wall and ceiling. There's mold. It's like gross.
It's just a little bit of asbestos. It's fine.
Right? No one has bothered with upkeep for this place. And in the room, right in the center, there's a table. There's like some parchments there. And there's a few Aes Sedai gathered around the table looking at these documents. And warders and people who could be accepted or novices keep coming to them. They tell them something and then they leave and they go. It's like they're coming and getting directions or orders. And So it's like this is kind of a headquarters, a
It
hub.
it feels very like war camp, war room situation.
It's like a fob. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's also like what?
a fob.
No, I heard what you said, and I know what it means. The context is something that makes no sense to Min walking in here.
Oh, okay. It made
In
sense to you,
context,
not
it's
to men.
what?
Gotcha.
I know what a forward operating base is.
Thank you. It's like, what? Okay. And when they're finally noticed that they walked in, the reaction is like it was with the rest of the town. Everything stops and they stare at them. But then a little bit more happens because there's 4 Aes Sedai who were running the table.
Mhm.
And they recognize Min and Logain. And they turn words, questions at Min. Now, who do we have here, Zach? Who are these 4 Aes Sedai? Because I think we'd met at least
We've
3 of
met
them. We might have met all 4, but I know we
2,
met
I
3 of them
think
before.
3 in my brain. Okay, so we've got Shiriam. We know Shiriam. She's Blue Aja. She was mistress of the novices back at the White Tower. Apparently, she's not at the White Tower.
Apparently not.
I don't remember this next one. This is the one I'm not sure.
I'm with you there.
Carolinia. She's White Aja. If we've met her, and this is me just pulling randomly because I'm like, I don't know if we've met her. If we have, she may have been on part of the expedition to Altara.
That's the only thing I can think as well. I'd have to research that.
Then
we're doing a show. It would make sense if we'd research that. But sorry, guys, we didn't research that.
At this point, we're 5 books in. There's a lot of stuff. Next is Mirel, who's Green Aja, who I'm confident we've met at this point. I don't remember where. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Okay. I don't think we met her. I think
She's
we've had her referenced.
Yeah.
So people have talked about her. I think this is our first time actually seeing her.
And finally, one that we have met, Anaya, Blue Aja. This is someone who we've interacted with before. She's a powerful figure within the Blue Aja.
Friend of Moraine's.
The quote-unquote friendly faces we see here are Blue Aja people we know.
They insist on knowing, Min, why did you come here? How did you come here? I mean, how did you find us? And why in the world did you bring Logain? And they are completely ignoring Swan and Lyanna.
Which makes sense because they don't recognize them. When the 2 of them were stilled, they lost their agelessness, but in a way that made them look very different than they ever looked.
Very different.
And to add on to that, they're presumed dead. You don't expect to see someone who you know is dead walk in and look different.
Unless you're a ZA fan like I am.
You don't expect them to look different, maybe decayed, but not this different.
Now, Min is partly going, why are you asking me all these questions? And then it dawns on her what's going on when they say to her, now, I know, child, you're probably stressed now with all these questions. Don't worry, regardless of how you came here, I'm sure we can find a place for you and these girls with you. It's not going to be anything you have to worry about. And she realizes they have no idea who these girls are.
Don't you know who I am?
She reveals at this point, yeah, these girls, Swan Sanche, Lyanna, Keeper of the Chronicles.
You don't remember her last name?
Lyanna.
Yeah, I don't either. I know it's
Masvani. No, that's Alana. Lyanna.
I wouldn't be able to pull it out of my head. I'm sorry.
I don't remember. Swan and Lyanna. And the Aes Sedai, they do not take Min's word for it. The initial reaction is kind of like, okay, maybe. I could kind of see it. And yeah, stilling might change a person's appearance. Remember, Aes Sedai don't spend a lot of time studying stilling.
No, they kind of, it's like we're just going to pretend that doesn't exist. Unless it's convenient to us for a moment, and then we'll go back to pretending it doesn't exist.
It's like men don't spend a lot of time studying the art of getting kicked in the balls. They don't. We don't talk about it. We don't think about it. We just avoid it
That being said,
for
it happens
reasons.
more often than stilling, so we're all intimately aware with that experience. I don't know how well this analogy works, but
Hey, I have not been kicked there.
in your life, I'm pretty sure you have.
No, things have bumped there, and that's good enough.
Uh,
I don't need any
whether
kicking.
intentional or not, I'm sure that you either A, have, or B, someone has kicked a ball that has then proceeded to hit there, which counts as a kick.
No, it does not. That's a ball in the
What
balls.
what
That's
was the
different.
force that propelled that ball? A kick. What do you say about that ball? You say they kicked that ball into you. You were kicked.
And that's the fine content you get on our show. Now, the this conversation here, and Swan and Liana are like, it's us. Really. Ask us anything. Ask us what only we would know, because all our thoughts are still here. We got all this knowledge in our head. And that's what goes on to happen now. They spend, I don't know how long, drilling them on things from long ago.
Yeah, they're like, what's
And
your social security number? Who was your first pet? What was your mother's maiden name? All the questions that verify your identity, you know?
oh, but it gets juicier than that. What did you do that one time to that one person so that you ended up having to wash dishes in the kitchen for 3 straight weeks?
And it's like,
And
look, I
men,
remember this and it's dumb, but also, like, why is that a formative memory for you? Have you been spiteful for the past 40 years?
no,
Wow.
here's the thing we get. This men is sitting here just absorbing all this information, and it broadly and massively humanizes these women because it's escapade after escapade after escapade that they did in the past, and you get the feel that none of this is really out of the norm. This is how Aes Sedai screw around when they're younger and learning to be Aes Sedai. And Min's like, she has never had a picture of Aes Sedai doing things like this before.
Yeah, no,
All these pranks and practical jokes, and yeah,
I said I get up to shit.
seriously. That's one heck of a sorority. When they are finally convinced, the conversations go on to, okay, what happens now? Min is directed, girl, go sit over there, take Logain with you, just sit.
Rude.
While the women jabber on. As Min is left to her thoughts now, because this is her POV, she has a few things cross her mind. The women, they know she was Min and Elmandreda. That comes out in the comments. So, okay, I spent all this time wearing the stupid dresses, makeup, hair, and you all knew I was Min anyways?
Well, yeah.
Oh, dang it.
It's okay. Some of the accepted didn't.
But critically, they don't seem to know that there was something else about her for which reason Swan Sanche kept her around, even in disguise. And what was that, Zach?
Yeah, they know Min, they know Elmandreda. They don't know that either one of them has anything special about them. Notably, some sort of talent that allows them to see prophetic visions around other people.
That's really important to Min because Swan's knowledge of that ability is what kept Swan stuck in the White Tower when she really wanted to go find Rand.
Kept Min there, but yeah.
Yeah. Did I say a wrong name?
You said Swan kept Swan there with that information.
Whoops. If they don't know this, Min can hold on to hope that she might be able to slip away now that she's gotten them here to this place. Yeah, hang on
No
to that
dice.
hope, Min. She would really like to get away. She wants to go to Rand. And what is her purpose in getting to Rand? What does she want to do? This is actually kind of funny. What's her goal, Zach?
In truth, at this point, it's a little bit of a shoot. I'm destined to fall in love with this guy and share him. Let's get him to actually bother thinking of me that way, because
yes,
I'm just in the friend zone right now, and I might be in love with him, but I didn't see anything about him loving me.
Exactly. If I'm going to be doomed to love this guy, I want it to be reciprocated. So I got to go make some moves and get this guy wrapped around my finger. That's going to take some time. It's going to take some presence. And that's what's on her mind. But so far, she's spent months wanting to go find Rand and not being able to go anywhere. And right now, she doesn't have any agency to do anything different yet. She's stuck in a corner. As she sits there, she has some brief conversations with three people. A novice named Tabia, an accepted named Faulane. Huh?
That's how you say that?
I don't know. I say Tabia. It could be Tabia.
Tabia is what my brain goes.
Could be Tay, Bye, Yay.
Could be lots of things, I guess.
Faulane, an accepted, and finally a yellow full sister named Edicina. And we learn a few things, quick things from the conversations. First, Min gets confirmed that this town is named Saladar. Thus, the name of this person, Salidara, was something people would be able to put the connection together if they were in the know that we're gathering in Saladar.
It feels a bit on the nose if you know that Saladar exists.
Mm-hmm. Saladar, we learn, is in Altara, just about a mile from the border with Amadisha, which makes it a great place to hide. No one would expect a whole bunch of Aes Sedai to gather just a mile from Amadisha.
The closer they are to danger, the further they are from harm. There are a bunch of white cloaks right on the other side of the border.
Right.
So there's a bunch of white cloaks within like 10 miles of where they are.
Okay, so that's the basic of the first thing that Min learns. The second thing Min learns, we also learn with her, and that's that Faulane sucks.
That's accurate.
Yeah. I don't need to say anything more about her. Just remember that for some readers, Faulane sucks.
I don't know if it's ever going to change.
Spoiler light, we can't tell. Edicina, this full sister, something we learn here, not so much is about what Edicina says, but about what Min sees in the aura and vision around her. And that is what?
That Edicina is going to end up taken by the Shan-Chan.
Whoa! Really? But wait, there's more. She'll be taken by the Shan-Chan, and somehow she will escape.
That's even wilder, because, people have done it, but not very often, you know?
Not super easy. So what greater knowledge does this reveal to us? Does this confirm for us?
Most notably, Shan-Chan problem's not resolved. It doesn't necessarily confirm the Shan-Chan are coming back, because, this could be a vision of, we decided to take the fight to the Shan-Chan someday, and she gets taken and then escapes. It could be that, but the more likely and believable explanation is the Shan-Chan are coming back.
I agree. In some way, the Shan-Chan are going to interact with at least Edicina. In some way. And since Min saw it, it's absolutely true. We also learned that some of the Aes Sedai are not at all happy that they've all arrived here in Saladar, especially with Logain along for the ride.
Well, wasn't that a nice, happy, warm welcome? Shall we go to the next chapter?
Let's do it, which is also chapter 27. It's called The Practice of Diffidence. And here we see Swan and Lyanna speaking with 6 Aes Sedai. So the 4 that we already encountered in the last chapter.
Who else?
Yeah, who else? We've got Morvrin. Which Aja is she?
Brown?
Yeah, one of those educated, learned thinker people. And then Bayanin. Gray Aja. What? Remind us what Gray was about.
One of those negotiator politic-y ones.
Yes. Swan is making the case before these 6, and in essence, the 6 who are representing the people of Saladar, I guess. Making the case that Saladar lacks direction, That, yeah, you're busy doing stuff, but all the stuff you're doing is just busy work. You're not actually accomplishing anything. And while you're doing that, Elida and her cronies are likely screwing the pooch with the Dragon Reborn. We got to change things.
I mean, technically speaking, we know currently not much of anybody's doing anything with the Dragon Reborn as far as Aes Sedai are concerned. Maybe Moraine, but she's kind of unaffiliated right now.
Hearing this all pouring out of Swan, Sheriam, who seems to be speaking for these six, asks Lyanna, do you agree? Is this how you feel as well? And Lyanna's like, well, regarding Elida misusing Randall Thor, yeah, 100%. I'm on board there. She will so mess that up. As to you're all sitting here on your hands and wasting time, Lyanna's not so harsh.
They're playing good cop, bad cop.
A little bit.
Except they're kind of the prisoners. So it's like, we're good cop, bad cop, but you're the ones in charge. So we're just trying to trick you into thinking that we're good cop, bad cop.
The women then give Swan and Lyanna a reality check. Okay, girls. You are no longer Aes Sedai. You need to remember this. You come in here telling us all these things, trying to set us straight, trying to tell us what we're missing and what we need to do, but your counsel is not needed. This is Aes Sedai business, and you aren't.
This is annoying, stupid, and ableist. Essentially saying, hey, y'all got stilled, so now you don't know shit. You're not allowed to contribute.
Matter anymore.
I'm sorry, but most of what they did as Aes Sedai had nothing to do with the fact that they were actually Aes Sedai. In fact, most of what most Aes Sedai do have nothing to do with the fact that they're Aes Sedai.
Sheriam is leading this conversation, and she's like, yes, your stilling was unjust. We all agree here that you didn't deserve this to be done to you, but nevertheless, it was done to you, and it does change things.
Yeah, this is like the politician who goes, yeah, no, like, I voted against what happened to you, but also, like, maybe it benefits me now, so I'm okay with screwing you over. Since it's already happened.
There's general acknowledgement that Swan and Lyanna had made mistakes as the Amerlin and the Keeper. Most specifically, that they knew about Randall Thor, and they kept that information secret from the Hall of the Tower, from the Aes Sedai in general.
Which is debatable as to whether or not that's actually a mistake, or just something that they really, really wanted them to have told them, and they're really butthurt about not knowing.
They're really what?
Butthurt.
Thanks for throwing that one in. Fantasy for the ages, and that was not my age where that phrase comes from.
It exists.
Sure. But despite their wrongs, it wasn't deserving of being stilled. Stilling is horrible. You don't do that to someone, basically. So we feel your pain. You will be cared for, is what they tell him. And Swan's like, that's the last thing I want to hear. You're going to just care for me now. What, are you going to marry me off? Which, by the way, is one of the remedies to try to help someone survive being stilled.
Which,
get a husband and make babies.
To Swan is a golden coffin.
Yeah. So basically, they're being dismissed here. We're going to now talk about Aes Sedai business. You two can go. Swan does not want to go. Swan's primary agenda here, and Lyanna is working with her in this, is to still influence events. Remember, Swan spent at least the last 20 years with one mission. Remind us of that mission.
Find the Dragon Reborn. Unite the tower more or less in support of him. Defeat the Dark One. Last battle shit.
Just minor stuff, right?
Save the world.
Save the cheerleader. Okay. By the way, that actress is in Scream 6. Okay, another shout out. Yeah. She was also in Scream 5.
Hayden Panettiere or something?
Yeah.
I don't know where I pulled that one out of.
And she's gotten older. this happens to
People tend to do that.
They do. But when I look at her, I was like, oh yeah, wow. You've matured physically more. It didn't look like she used to look. Your changes do change. Your changes do change. Duh. Your appearance does
Changes.
change as you move further into adulthood and all. Trust me. Some of my episodes that I do without you, I occasionally throw in young photos of you when I reference you.
Yeah,
They have
I'm
seen
sure
how
you
you've
have.
changed, son.
I'm sure most of the world now has the ability to see my baby pictures.
I only put adorable ones up. I do have the ones that aren't so adorable too. Those never get shared.
I appreciate it, as someone
You
who
know.
actually has to continue living and working professionally.
So Swan, in order to still fulfill this mission, needs to have some influence. She needs to have a say on what these women are going to do. And they're trying to dismiss her. So she and Lyanna are going to execute a plan here now. And she says, it's obvious you are out of touch with what's happening outside of Saladar.
Yeah.
You don't have any eyes and ears out there listening and reporting to you, and they're like, no, not really. Swan reminds them, I was the head of the Blues eyes and ears before becoming the Amerlin. I still have all those contacts. I would be happy to use them to provide you with the information that you need to make good decisions here. And if you are interested, also to provide disinformation to be fed to Elida. And she's really struggling here in how she shares this information because she just wants to tell them, this is what you need to do. And she realizes she can't do that because she's not an Aes Sedai anymore. She'll just be dismissed if she tries to tell them anything. So
what she really has to do is make the suggestion, but also make it in a way that feels like they have the locus of control, even as she fully is cognizant of the fact that she's making herself the middleman who has all of the power because they get nothing if it's not through her, and she will give nothing except through her. Because she's like, I'm not giving you my network, but I'll give you access to the network through me.
And she's trying to say these things in a way where she's still deferring to them. Like, I would be happy to provide information that you want, that you request upon your direction, all these kinds of things. This deference is so fake.
It's also not very good. Everyone can kind of see this hurts to say, doesn't it?
Right? But then Lyanna steps in and says, I also have information, if you want, that I could provide to you, because as the keeper of the Chronicles, I thought it was really an oversight that we have all these eyes and ear networks all over the world, except right here at home. So I cultivated a network of informants in Tar Valon.
That one's a little bit of a shock to everyone.
Yeah,
they're like, wait,
that was
you were
not
spying
a common
on us?
thing before.
It's like, yes, we were spying on you. Of course we were spying on you.
So I can easily reach out, reconnect with my contacts, and get you information on what's happening on the island. What's going on? And at first, the sisters are still a little offended here. They're like, okay, we're the Aes Sedai. You're not the Aes Sedai. If we want your contacts, you're going to give us your contacts. But then they sway over to, but, yeah, okay, maybe we'll let you play this role. And you could be the ones to convey the information to us. And I want to know, Zach, did you sense what it was that causes them to allow Swan and Lyanna to play this important role?
There's two things to my brain. One, there's the semi-altruistic thing that is actually the good thing, and I think is what you're going for, in that going, this is how we're going to take care of you. This is how we're going to keep you as stilled women. with a purpose. You can do this. That's your purpose.
Without purpose, they're looking for a bridge to jump off of. That's what they believe will happen.
But I also sit on the side of going, I don't think any of these Aes Sedai want to have to manage any of this. They want to be able to have a spy master because they don't want to have to deal with it. Okay. They're not sure they trust Liana and Swan, but at the same time, it's easier than getting someone else that you do trust.
Now, this is still not enough for Swan. She still feels she's being moved out of having as much influence as she believes she needs to have. And honestly kind of craves. So she executes the next part of the plan. Not something she and Liana had actually intended to do right here in this conversation, but it was something they intended to roll out eventually.
Eventually.
And she just decides I'm going for it. She brings up Logain. And she says, do you realize why I brought Logain with me? Let me tell you. Here's the deal. Logain was found, we've learned this, he was found by Red Sisters a year before he proclaimed himself the Dragon Reborn. And instead of gentling him, as they should have, they put ideas in his head. They literally planted the seeds that he might be the real Dragon Reborn. They set him up. And why? So they could take him down later. Apparently, they figured out they get more props, influence, power by...
when they take down a Dragon Reborn than when they take down a random channeler. False dragons
gentling
worth
someone
so much more.
Before he even rises up? Whatever. But yeah, take down a false dragon?
Yeah, it's the difference between like bringing in a criminal and killing a child who's going to grow up to be a criminal. One scene is good, and the other
similar
problem.
Yeah.
It's kind of super messed up.
Now, Liana and Swan say they learned all of this information from Logain because as they've been traveling with him, he had no idea who they really were. And he just shared this story of what had happened to him over time, thinking he's talking to a couple of random young women who just fallen in with men and were traveling along. What are we reminded of through this tale, Zach?
That they can lie.
Oh, man, because they are so lying. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I also am quite curious to know whether or not we would recognize any of the Red Sisters that apparently met with Logain. Like, is that a Leandrin situation? That could put a totally different spin on that. But also, like, we can't trust any of the details in this story at all.
No. They did promise Logain they were going to help him get revenge on the Aes Sedai. And he does have a lot of angst and issues with the Red Aja that brought him in. But this whole bit of him sharing this whole story of what was done, no, they're making that crap up.
Well, they're at the very least making up him sharing it. They may or may not be making up the story. They're probably making up the story, but they may or may not be making up the story. I don't know. It could be real.
What's critical here is that the Aes Sedai listening, it never crosses their mind that Swan and Liana might be lying.
Yeah, they established that they do believe they are Liana and Swan. I have the hardest time saying that name.
Swan? Just think of the bird.
Well, when I say Swan, though, I don't say Swan, which is her name. It's like the slight difference in how you should say it, and it feels wrong to me. Anyway, they believe they are who they say they are, and they know so little about stilling, they don't know they can lie.
They don't realize the 3 oaths are broken. Now, this becomes critical in using this right now in a way that was way more important than Swan and Liana realized before they executed the plan. In that in the conversation, it comes up, as the sisters are responding, wow, whoa, that's huge. That makes a difference. Yeah. There's no way we could go back and follow Elida as a Amerlin now. And Swan gets, wait, that was a
Are you kidding me?
discussion?
That was an option?
You were thinking about that? So, yeah, this is really good.
Now, to be fair,
they
as much
dropped
as
this down.
Swan is upset about that and thinks it's inconceivable, we'd think back to a few chapters back when Moraine heard about this and went, I wish people would have actually just like followed Elida, because a united tower under Elida would be better than a split tower.
Which is exactly what Sheriam then explains to Swan and Lyanna. Yes, we were considering going back and following Elida because the tower must be strong. The dragon has been reborn. This is not a time we can afford to be divided. The last battle is coming. To face this, we need a united tower working with the dragon reborn. And even if we all hate Elida, it would be better to support her to have that. Except if she and the Reds have been manipulating everything all along with false dragons, there's no way we can follow Elida. So that plan's a bust now. Everything's changed. Elida has to go. First step, though. Okay, if we're going to depose Elida, we need to acknowledge the fact there may be sisters in the tower who currently are supporting her because they've bought into the fact that this was legitimate. I mean, by the very minute technicalities of tower law, she is legitimately the Amerlin.
It's like one of those bullshit legitimate things, but it's legitimate.
Right. But if they hear this same news that we now know, they may defect. They may come over to our side. So we need to reach out to them and, okay, Swan, Lyanna, this is where you can be helpful. We can use your network to get information out there to them and give them a chance to come over to our side.
Now, how wild is this for perspective? We don't trust or like Elida for the purpose of being Amerlin and helping Rand and getting to the last battle. We don't trust or like her enough that we're talking about making shit up to launch a coup to overthrow a technically legitimate Amerlin. Like, yeah, there's a lot of extenuating circumstances and different bits and pieces and things, but like, that's what's happening.
And Swan feels completely justified in manipulating this to happen because nothing is more important in her mind than being able to have the Dragon Reborn properly supported for the last battle. And Elida's not going to do it. She's going to be horrible. So we got to end that. Now, Lyanna then introduces the next part of the plot she and Swan came up with ahead of time, where she says, it's not enough to work to depose Elida. The world sees her as Amerlin, and she can sit there in the White Tower and denounce us out here, the Saladar sisters, as a bunch of rebels and agitators, and we lose any chance to influence and impact the rest of the world. What we need to do is leak the information of what we now know Elida and the Reds have done. So they are discredited. And then right here, we've got every Aja represented here except the Red. So with the other 6, we create a new Hall of the Tower. The real Hall of the Tower, the one that has not been discredited. We'll keep the Red out of it. And then we have this hall raise up a new Amerlin, who we will put forward as the true Amerlin for a White Tower in exile.
Yes, I'm just saying, if they got a few accepted to choose the Red Aja, it would really help as well.
Yeah. Who's going to choose the Red when the Red sucks now? Come on.
Doesn't matter. No one. You are now the most important automatic sittership. You're suddenly on the council because you're the only Red Aja.
Come on. Translate this over to Harry Potter world. You finally have all the Slytherins
I'm
gone,
a Slytherin.
And then someone else comes along and says, "Ooh, I hope I can be the first of the new Slytherins."
I'm just
No.
sitting here going, your analogy doesn't work because I'm a Slytherin.
So sorry, we talked about this ahead of time. I've got on my screen StreamYard where we're doing this, but also Discord, and Discord's delayed. So I just saw you doing this repeatedly on both screens, where it was very funny. You emphatically made that point.
It was a very emphatic point to make.
Yes, it was. Okay, you Slytherin. Okay, so if they do this, yeah, you have the same problem I do now. It's empty.
Yeah.
We got to wrap this up, man. Okay, this will announce to the world the tower is split, but it will also bring support to their cause, so that would be worth it.
Yeah.
Debate ensues then, proving Swan and Lyanna have won, in essence, what they were trying to do. It goes into, who do we choose as Amerlin? They're not even debating the other stuff now. They've moved completely on. Okay, who do we make the Amerlin here? And the early leaning moves towards Sheriam, as she's been the one most assertive in Saladar, focusing the work that's being done here. It's also mentioned she is highest among them. What does that mean, Zach? I mean, do we technically know yet what that means?
I don't know for sure.
I think that comes
My
out
best
more.
guess is power level.
Highest power. That makes sense. So she's the strongest. She's been the most vocal. She's the logical pick. Of course, Sheriam's like, she does not want the gig.
Yeah, she's like, if this goes wrong, that's off with my head. No thanks.
But Swan and Lyanna have plans here too. And now they drop some suggestions. First of all, it should be someone who was not in the tower when the split occurred. Because in that way, it can be someone you can portray as never having taken a side. I'm objective.
They're just them. They're just Aes Sedai.
Of course, it needs to be someone very strong in the power. That's just a given as Amerlin. You need someone who's strong. And in Swan's thoughts, we get to see that eventually, they don't do this right here now, but eventually she's going to plant the seed that this new Amerlin should be someone they can guide. Someone who will listen to their advice. And of course, Swan is thinking this will be someone that Swan can guide.
Yeah.
What does that mean for Swan, then, really?
It means she's trying to become a shadow Amerlin.
Absolutely.
She's trying to be a puppet master.
She'll make sure the right actions are taken to support Rand al'Thor.
She's also going to try her best to make it seem like the new hull of the tower will have a puppet Amerlin that they get to control. Yep. And it's interesting because until that point, it's like every tidbit of information says, are you trying to make Moraine Amerlin? You know how much everyone hates Moraine? Like, that's never going to happen.
Swan and Lyanna, though, they're on a roll. So here comes another suggestion. Swan notes the importance of finding and building a connection with the Dragon Reborn before Elida can. And I think I know where he is, because nobody really knows where he is right now. I think I've puzzled it out. He went to the Aiel Waste. They're like, what? Girl, you lost your marbles. And she makes her case. Ties to some prophecies, ties to the fact the Aiel have been known in some sources as the people of the dragon, and no matter who you talk to, Aiel were present at the falling of the Stone of Tyr. Okay,
honestly, she makes a really good showcase for the 20 years of work that she put into this cause, because she's got these prophecies and stuff memorized like the back of her hand, different translations, what they could possibly mean. And she's seeing the same work that Rand did in the Stone of Tyr, reading the prophecies and what he chose to do.
Yeah. Things that puzzled and confused Moraine, Swan gets. Now, it makes sense because Moraine was out and about all these years and Swan's stuck in the tower just reading books. So it makes sense.
Reading books is cool.
Yeah.
You heard it here, not first, but probably at some point.
The end result is the sisters are convinced, and they decide to send two green sisters,
Mm.
Karuna Nachaman and Bera Harkin, along with, between the two of them, their 7 warders.
Do they specify what the split is on that? Because it could be like 1 and 6.
They did not specify that.
I'm gonna go with
But
it's 1 and 6.
they're off to the... Why?
I think it's
Man,
more
that
entertaining.
Bera. Whoo! Okay. Heading off to the waste to find Randall Thor, to be an envoy from the White Tower in exile, and to try to share their support. And Swan intends to send a message along with them for Moiraine, who will surely be by Rand's side. Pregnant pause. At
I don't
this
know why you
point,
said it that way. Mm.
the Aes Sedai again look to dismiss Swan and Lyanna. Okay, thank you very much. Very good. But this time, the circumstance is different. Saying, you two clearly are now valued. We appreciate the information you'll be able to provide, but you're probably tired. Being stilled is hard on a person. They're like, no, we're fine. We're fine.
Yeah,
But
they're kicking them out. They're dismissing them again.
before it goes any further, though, the whole thing's interrupted when a warder comes in to say, we have another group approaching Saladar. And this group appears to be a bunch of men armed, like with the look of like military veterans, people who know their stuff, not a bunch of greenhorns or anything.
Mm.
And then another warder comes in and says, yeah, and okay, so the group's approaching, but they've mostly stopped now, and just one of them's coming forward.
Mm.
And he really looks like Gareth Bryn. Now, the sisters had already decided, okay, an armed group coming at us, we need to get a hand on this, control of this, because they cannot leave. We can't let word get out that we're here. So either we have to kill them or we need to capture them. But one way or another, they go nowhere else. They're stuck with us. But when it's revealed it's Gareth Bryn and his people, Swan goes into a panic. I mean, Bryn? He followed us all the way here? What?
Honestly, it's pretty impressive, especially because he had to go around and get his bannermen and still follow on the trail. The two things that are impressive about this: one, that he tracked them across half the continent. Like,
seriously,
it's a good distance.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the entire continent, but it's a good distance.
Yes, it is.
And two, they had a head start, and he's here an hour, a couple hours. It's same day.
He was pretty close on their tail, apparently.
He had to be absolutely booking it and not making any wrong choices, which a lot of the time you're like, wow, they're incredibly lucky, or wow, they're incredibly good. I go, wow, it must be part of the pattern.
Now, Swan panicking, she's thinking that this could ruin everything. We're finally here. We're getting our plan enacted. We're going to make things happen the way they need to happen. And then Gareth Bryn is going to show up. And she just blurts out, you need to send him away or kill him now. And as soon as she says this, she realizes
that's not
it
what
was
they're
a
going to
mistake.
do. Yeah.
Because they all look at her going, okay, wait a second. You know why he's here, don't you? Because she's not surprised. She's just reacting. You know why he's here, and you don't want to confront him.
Yeah.
Now, the warders, they have a very different feel about Gareth Bryn showing up. They're like, this is one of the 5 great captains that exist at this time.
Generals?
And captains. That's what they call them. The 5 great captains.
Really?
Yeah.
I could have sworn they call them generals.
Nope. But of those 5, he's potentially the only one who might be available to serve in our cause.
Because all the others, like, have firm, loyal ties, but he got kicked out by his queen lover.
He's unattached right now.
So, like, send a green sister out to meet him.
That's not quite what they say, but with their prompting, it is decided, let's have Gareth Bryn come talk to us. Now, the warders do reveal they've figured out more of what's going on in the Aes Sedai's minds than the Aes Sedai actually thought they knew. Because they've already recognized, the warders, they come out and say it, if we're going to go back at the tower and against Elida, we could really use someone like this to help militarily.
Yeah, they're prepared
we haven't
for
told
a
you
war
anything
effort.
like this, but they've literally just decided that's what they're going to do.
Granted, these are also the Aes Sedai's swords. It's their weapons of war,
right?
Because they can't be their own weapons of war against normal people. So it is understandable that their understanding is in terms of, we're going to have to go fight our way back.
So when the warders go to get Bryn, the Aes Sedai turn on Swan and Lyanna. It's like, okay, details. What's this all about? Why is he here? What's happened? And the chapter ends with the two of them having to spill the beans on the Core Springs escapade.
Oops.
Remind our readers of the key piece to that story,
key
Zach.
Pieces. Let's do a couple quick little notes.
Just the real final
they
key
did
piece.
Something bad. They were convicted. They swore under oath, the most powerful, swearing oath that you can do in this world. I'm not going to say this religion because it's not really a religious swear. And then they ran away.
They ducked out on their vows. Yep. That is where the chapter ends. We go right on to chapter 28 called Trapped, which is appropriate in more than one way. And it jumps to Gareth Bryn's point of view as his group is entering the town, amazed to discover so many Aes Sedai and warders hidden away so close to the border of Amadisha when all they're doing is following Mara and her runaways.
So they clearly don't know who they're following.
No. But their eyes are opening a little bit here, experiencing this. Now, why is it such an issue that they'd find this group so close to the border of Amadisha?
Well, most notably, those white cloaks that are in Amadisha, they've been consolidating forces. There's some rumors that they're looking to expand in this direction, and they're a mile from the border.
This could soon be Amadisha. It's like, what the heck are you guys doing here?
At the very least, if it's not soon Amadisha, it could soon be White Cloak territory.
And as Gareth has that recognition, he's like, Mara, 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 what have you gotten yourself into? Now, he's following this whole group. Why is Mara the name that's so much in his thoughts?
Because he's fixated on that girl, dang it.
Yep, we'll talk more about that in a minute. A warder then greets Bryn by name, asks him to follow him as there are some who would speak with him. And from this, Gareth deduces, crap. Mara and her group, they must have been Aes Sedai agents to get this kind of reaction here. Greeted by a warder, they know who I am. Oh boy.
I don't know. I'm still sitting in the position of just going, how important do you think the Aes Sedai think their agents are?
Regardless of this, though, he's still like, they made an oath. They made a really important oath. You don't get away from that. So he intends to still get to the bottom of this. He is escorted to that inn we already saw in the last chapter. And as he walks in, he sees sitting off to the side of the common room, Serenla, and a man with her who must be that Dallin, the one who abandoned them back in Core Springs. Now, who are those two actually?
Serenla is Lyanna, and Dallin is... No, Serenla is Min? Serenla's Min, and Dallin is Logain.
Correct. Then he's brought through the common room to another smaller room where he has 6 Aes Sedai seated there, giving him audience. And off to the side, 2 young chaste looking women. Chastened is the word, not chaste.
Yeah, I was like, they're I mean, maybe.
I mean, they might be chaste, but
I don't. They have
look
been
chastened.
chased. They've been chased by Gareth Bryn for days, weeks.
And those women, it's the flirty one from Eridoman.
I like how we not only don't know
Mara.
her real last name, but we also don't know her fake name in this context.
No,
we
it
clearly
wasn't
are
referenced
not
again in the book here. I could have gone back
paying
and done some
enough
more
attention
research.
to Lyanna.
I didn't care. Mara. It's all about Mara for Gareth
I'm
Bryn.
gonna
So
go
it's
Team
all about
Lyanna.
Mara.
We should care more. We should make a formal apology later. Send out a tweet or something.
Right. Yeah. No. The Aes Sedai ask Gareth Bryn what brings him here, and he relates the tale. All the stuff that happened at Core Springs, the breaking of the oath, the follow, the pursuit, all that stuff. And as he's saying it, he's like, I'm pretty sure they already know all this, but they asked me, and you don't question Aes Sedai, so I'll comply. And the sisters, they share their understanding of this tale. Truly tragic. But we're still surprised that you chose to follow them so far. Alas, we can't let you have them yet. Now, he doesn't quite pick up on the yet in his first reaction. He's like,
Not
wait a second.
fully.
You heard what I said about the oaths. You're empathizing with that, and you're telling me you're not going to let them fulfill their oaths. He has a little bit of an issue with that, and they're like, no, like we said, yet.
We'll let them fulfill their oaths after they've served our purposes.
That's right. We have a need for them. Although they don't use the word need. I caught that in the text.
No, they will never.
They have a
need.
use for them,
yeah.
is how it's said, which is much more appropriate. Okay, I can't take them yet. Now, in his mind, this is all validated that, yes, they are Aes Sedai agents. They have value to the women. This must have been a reason behind why they did what they did, but they still swore those oaths. So he's like, okay, fine. I can live with that. I'm perfectly content to stay here until they are free to fulfill their oath. And Mara can work for me in the times she's not serving you. And he uses the phrase as my dog robber. And I'm like, dog robber? Do you know what a dog robber is?
I'm gonna be honest.
It's actually a term. I looked it up.
The real term of it, I probably would have to look it up.
Yeah, it's an officer's orderly. So basically, the person to take care of all the background details for this military person,
but not the skill details, not the useful messages
prepare
and
my armor, wash my clothes, make my bed, that sort of stuff.
Clean out the bedpan because I just was too lazy to get up.
The honey bucket. Mara is clearly not happy with this. It's like, seriously, I'm going to have to do this for you?
Mm-hmm.
And she's staring daggers at Bryn. And they see her. I mean, she almost starts to retort, and all 6 women stared at her, and she just clammed up. But she's still got the burning coals coming out of her eyes. And they're like, okay, so you'd like Mara to do that for you. Are you sure you wouldn't like the other one instead? And Lyanna's kind of like batting her eyes, almost like, yeah, come on, big boy. Let's do the thing. Come on, huh? No. Mara will do. I will take Mara. And then they drop the bombshell on him. Now you do realize that's actually Swan Sanche, right? And the other one here is, Lyanna almost had her last name. It almost came to me. Sharif? Lyanna Sharif? Is that it?
That's very possible.
I think that's it. Lyanna Sharif, the Keeper of the Chronicles.
Maybe we don't have to make the formal apology.
And Bryn, he's like, oh, whoa, wait, what? Drop the mic, what? Is Rach there?
Rachel just got home, and she brought me a refill of a kind.
Hey!
Because she loves me and is
well, that's funny, because your mother just got home,
She brought me
too,
a refill of a kind.
But she didn't bring me any refill of any kind. I have to go get my own when this one's done. Anyways, they drop this on Bryn on purpose, and he sees through it because with him a little off balance, they go right into manipulation of him, saying, since you're going to be around here, then perhaps you could do a service for us. Perhaps, there's a need you could help with. And he's like, okay, you have a need. That's fine. I can tell what your need is already. And he drops to them what he's concluded, which is quite astute. The White Tower is broken. The Ajas have split. It's obvious. You want me to lead an army in opposition to Elida. Now, personally, I love this. Elida's always sucked. I do not like that woman, so I'm happy to accept this role. But I have conditions, and they all cringe a little, because Aes Sedai don't tend to care for conditions.
Conditions
But he says,
yeah.
These conditions are excellent, by the way. It says, first, the command of the army is mine. Thou shalt not micromanage. You tell me what you need to have done. I will order my army as to how we're going to do it.
Which is smart, considering, that's what they want him for. But also, like, they would get in the way and not let him actually be a great captain.
Aes Sedai know best in all circumstances. Second, if I tell you something can't be done, you will consider my words. Now, he actually said that tactfully. It's like, if I say it can't be done, you will mind me, woman. He didn't say that. He's just saying, you will consider my words. Basically, don't waste my wisdom. Because if you waste my guidance, men are just going to die.
Yeah, the important thing is, if you waste his knowledge, his expertise, you're going to waste people.
If you want me in charge, it's because you value what I bring to the table. So tell me you're going to listen to what I bring to the table. And finally, this is perhaps the biggest one. If we do this, you stay the course. No changing your mind later. No deciding, this is getting too hard. Wouldn't it be easier to just go back to Elida? Because if you do that, you leave us all swinging in the wind. We are dead men.
Because at that point, we just opposed the United White Tower without any due cause.
And again, he does this well. He says, think about it. These are my conditions. You don't have to agree to them, but if you don't agree, I don't serve. Even if that means you decide to put me and my men to death right now, that would be better than to go out and do this thing and then have it not work because you literally screw it up. So I'll respect your decision. And they're like, give us a moment. And the six all move off to the side and have a little powwow. And then while they're off talking, Swan comes over to Gareth and basically says, why? Why did you follow all this way? Why have you ruined all of this stuff? And he says to her, for an oath.
But that's not why.
He's thinking, for a pair of blue eyes.
Yeah.
What's that mean, Zach? What is this about?
Robert Jordan is saying Swan has a good figure. Sorry. Robert Jordan has an issue where he describes people as having big
Wait, no, this wasn't
eyes.
Big eyes. This was blue eyes. There's a difference.
I don't know if there's that big of a difference.
Oh, come on. That was... No, this was not the parallel that played this time. He's literally saying, though, I followed you because you've captivated and captured me. I'm a little bit gaga, and I wanted to know where this might go.
That being said, I'm not admitting any of that, ever.
He does note then, since you broke your oath, I probably should double your service time. And she's like, don't bother. The sisters already did.
So quadruple.
She's been punished for breaking her oath. Now, we get a few details through this conversation they're having, and one of them is that Bryn recognizes the sisters are desperate for his help. They had already had this conversation with Swan and Lyanna before he even walked in, where you are gonna serve him double what you owe him after this.
Correct.
Whoa. Okay. We also learn that Swan thinks he must feel very smugly satisfied to have the former Amerlin as a servant, and he's like, I didn't even know you were the Amerlin. Remember, I followed Mara across the continent, not Swan. We also can see, as they say some things here that are like, what are you saying to each other? That Swan pushes Gareth's buttons pretty easily, and vice versa. And what's going on off screen that you are so...
Oh, just we've been making it so that I am enjoying this. Rachel
You
takes care
sometimes
of me.
don't enjoy that?
No, rather than not having any in here.
Oh, gotcha. All right. The sisters return. They fully accept his conditions. And with that, he swears to their service. And his mind is immediately going on to how he's going to build an army. For the last few pages of the chapter and our episode, we jump over to Min's POV. She's been stuck sitting out in the common room. No one's telling her what's going on. She's seeing people come back and forth. And she saw, when Gareth Bryn came in, she was like, what the heck? But no one's telling her what's happening. And at this point, she decides she needs to go find some information. But she talks to Logain, and she says, don't talk to anyone else. I feel like we need information. You need to hear what Swan's learned so far. So please don't talk to anyone. I'm going to go find some information. And he's like, you do realize nobody wants to talk to me, right? I mean, everyone in here has been avoiding us. It's like, yeah, point. Okay, just still, don't talk to anybody. Not too hard to do. She gets a hold of Lyanna and Swan. Lyanna's saying, hey, yeah, apparently we're guests here now. But Swan's like, yeah, we have to work for that stupid frickin' Gareth Bryn. And washing clothes and doing stuff. And unfortunately, Min pretty quickly learns that Swan needing to wash Gareth Bryn's clothes means Min needs to wash Gareth Bryn's clothes because Swan's going to be way too important and busy. Nice.
Sure.
And that translates in her mind to another reason that she's ticked with Rand al'Thor, because I'm only here in the first place because of Rand. But
arguably, though, he's an important person. Like, everyone's kind of because of him right now.
Here's the last relevant thought from this chapter that we need to share. And that's Min tells Swan, there is something new I saw. A new vision when Gareth Bryn arrived. And that's that what I saw was that the two of you need to stay close to each other. Because if you are close to each other, you will survive. If you are apart from each other, you are both going to die. It's a vision, which means it's going to be true. But this is an unusual kind of vision. She's seeing in this or that vision. If you guys are like this, you're going to be fine. And if you're like this, you're going to die. She's never had one like that before.
It's really kind of shook
her a little bit.
But it's a two-ended meeting. There is some chance to this. There is some changeability. But not really. It's just that it's established. This will be the outcome depending on this or that.
And again, remember what we said about Min's visions at the beginning of the episode. But that's it. That's the end of this chapter. It's the end of our content we're covering this time. If you're a first-time reader, this is when you hit the road, Jack. And please come back some more. Please
do, actually. We don't want you to not come back.
Because now Zach and I are going to spoil a couple of things that we talked about in this episode going on way beyond this part of the Wheel of Time. So you don't want to be here for that. But thank you for joining us. Look for where you can connect with us down in the show notes. And we hope to see you next time for sure. But Zach, let's roll.
Shall we get into, don't we have like a thing, especially for our audio listeners?
Oh, yeah, we should play that.
I expect you to play it like 5 times.
The spoiler room.
You got just once.
Cha-ching, man. All right, let's see what we get. Oh, that sucks.
How bad's yours?
3.
I guess I got to go first. I had a 12.
Yeah, it's a lot better than 3.
It's not great, but it's better than the 3.
What do you want to spoil?
Do I want the low-hanging fruit or the lower-hanging fruit? I don't know. I think we're gonna just go immediately piggyback off the end.
No.
So Swan and Bryn are gonna stick around together for a bit, and in
Quite
the
a bit.
last book, they're gonna separate, and they're gonna die.
Yeah.
Admittedly, knew it was probable. When and how it actually happens, like, it actually was something I didn't immediately see coming in that way. It was a successful little, like, oh wow, that was sudden, that happened.
It is sudden when it happens. Yeah.
But it's very clear. It's like, oh, that's what she meant when she said when they're separate.
Way
they're
back
gonna die.
here.
But there's no like clear, oh, they died because they weren't together. It's like, no, they weren't together and they die. Not necessarily they needed to stay together to keep each other alive. No, it was just like, if you stay together, you will live. If you aren't physically together, you will die. And I'm really curious what the other direction would have looked like, because I don't know if it necessarily would have changed the outcome of the overall story, save for them living. I'm just curious about it. Like, I know it's not a known thing because they didn't stay together. They didn't survive. But, like, it was an option. But it can't be an option if everyone loses the last battle and they die anyways. They can't survive if they die anyways.
That's very wise of you. They can't survive if they die anyways.
I'm curious about the alternate version that Min saw as a possibility. Anyways, what's your spoil, Dad?
My spoil talks about Min's vision that she's going to have to share with 3. Obviously, share with 2. Obviously, we're talking about Elaine, who she has met, and Avienda, who she hasn't met. But then Twitter is going on about his 5 loves. And I'm like, no, I got that covered too. Because his 5 loves, well, that also includes Egwene.
That was the easy one.
Because we've seen that right up front in the beginning. And then we've got Lanfear, his love from way back in the Age of Legends, who is going to be back in season 2 of back of season 2 of the Wheel of Time. That's already confirmed. So that's his 5 loves right there. Egwene, Lanfear, Min, Elaine, and Avienda.
Now, it's fair to admit that they don't have to share amongst 5.
Right.
Because one renounces and one is renounced.
And it did not say he was going to share, but he could certainly have the hots for all 5 of these at different times.
Yeah, to say that you're developing these loves, these love interests, these things, that's fair. That's fair. I buy it.
Yeah. Min coming to grips with sharing Rand. I don't think that's ever something she fully enjoys or embraces, but acknowledges and at least comes to be friends with Elaine and comes to coexist with Avienda.
I think they become friends over a bottle of Usquai.
Maybe more than one bottle. All right. That's all we got then. Thanks for being with us, everybody. Let me run the outro here to remind you of the various ways you can get together with us and interact. Once again, the reminder to like and subscribe and join us on Discord, where there's lots of like-minded people who enjoy fantasy, sci-fi, and other nerdy stuff.
Nerdy stuff is good.
Nerdy stuff is awesome. You can support us on Patreon and be one of those people who shows up interacting in our live episodes. Not that you get on screen. We don't do that to you, but your comments end up leaking in, and that's always fun. Social media, all the stuff, even email. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.